It appears that after Diddy was found not guilty for sex trafficking and racketeering, found guilty on prostitution charges, and it is awaiting sentencing at this point in time, it appears there is now another lawsuit. I kid you not, another lawsuit that has been brought forward. And this time, the lawsuit is against Cassie. Cassie, the woman who sued Diddy, is now being sued by the male escort that she referenced on the stand. He has created a short video. He is now speaking out. Let's go ahead and get into this article here. First, ladies and gentlemen, this is crazy. We're living in crazy times. Diddy Cassie hit with fresh scandal as Escort claims he was drugged and left with an STD. Oh my God. Oh my darling. Oh my darling. His name is Clayton Howard. So the escort Clayton Howard has made a number of wild claims in the suit, including accusations that Cassie gave him an STD and aborted his child without his consent. Oh boy. Howard also alleged that he was drugged, manipulated, and traumatized by Diddy and Cassie. So now this is crazy because Cassie said that there were a number of, occasions where she was drugged and she was threatened. And now you literally have this male escort, Clayton Howard. He is saying that he was drugged by Cassie and Diddy. And he goes on to say a lot more. And the way that he's telling this story is that Cassie was the instigator and not so much Diddy. It's wild and crazy times, ladies and gentlemen. He is now seeking compensation for psychological injury and several other forms of trauma he experienced while working for the duo. So again, male escort made several wild claims in his lawsuit against Cassie and Diddy. Although Diddy walked away with the minimal sentence during his recent sex crimes trial, his legal battles seem to be far from over. The rapper is still embroiled in several civil suits. Now, of course, one from Clayton Howard in the suit, which also names Cassie, Diddy's former girlfriend. Howard accused the singer of giving him an STD, which he seemingly believes was contracted during the freak-offs he had with the duo. He also made the wild claim that Cassie got pregnant by him during one of these encounters, but did not inform him and instead chose to abort the child. According to Howard, she continued to have sex with him, often unprotected and drug-induced, and also compelled him on multiple occasions to, we can get into that there. You guys can read that. I'm not going to do all that, but pleasure himself, basically. These sessions, he claimed, would often result in tears, peeling skin, and scabbing on his manhood. What the hell? Why would he continue to be a part of this? Like, this is crazy. The escort claims Cassie and Diddy used him to satisfy their sexual fetishes. Okay. Although Howard did not testify in Diddy's sex crime trial, he was listed as one of the several individuals the rapper allegedly hired for his freak-offs. Well, let's get into this video that he made. You're going to hear him speaking out here. Now, it's really crazy that just everything that we've heard, whether it's been with the trials, the testimony, but now we are hearing a different side of this story. Because remember, Diddy didn't testify. Now we are starting to hear from one of the escorts, and his version of events are different than what Cassie told on trial. Let's see what he has to say. Listen to this.
So good morning. I am Dave, the man who has just sued Cassandra Ventura for damages involved in the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial. And I'm looking through social media and I see a lot of the women out there, particularly black women like myself, who choose to victim shame me and try to do everything they can to discredit me, because the truth is that the loss of the Sean Combs trial was a loss to the Me Too movement and to hating women like the women who are trying to insult me. So let me tell you something, you women out there who would like to insult me. This is my story. I was paid by Cassie, Cassandra Ventura, for 8 years to be her male provider.
Let's pause here for a second. So he refers to himself as Dave. That's his alias. So just FYI, he says that he was paid by her. Let's go back a little bit here.
This is my story. I was paid by Cassie, Cassandra Ventura, for 8 years to be her male provider. I didn't have to be the best looking guy. I was the best in bed.
So he says that this went on for 8 years. And this is another question I have. Like, if these things that he is saying is true, that he was traumatized, that there were tears and scabbing on his manhood or whatever, why did he continue doing this for 8 years? Right? I would assume the money, but is the money worth all that? And I'm curious, did he continue doing this after the STD? Let's go on.
Because I was the best in bed, guess what? I was given this arrangement. I was coerced. I was drugged. I was manipulated with promises of money and gifts for over a period of 8 years to continue to be this woman's provider at her expense and at the expense of Diddy. Now, at the time, legally, I didn't know my rights as well as I do now. I didn't create this conflict with Cassandra Ventura. She created it with me.
So for the people who are asking, why is he bringing this up now? His excuse is that he didn't know his rights at that point in time. But now that, Cassie brought this forward with the trial, now I guess he realizes, hey, I could also file a lawsuit. So this story has become very messy. But if he says that Cassie paid him, and the way he goes on to tell the story, it comes across as though Cassie was the aggressor. And he'll also mention that Cassie wasn't forced to do anything. Watch this.
She's the one who decided to bring up things that happened over 10 to 15 years ago to hold Sean Combs accountable for what was a partial truth. She's the person who introduced me to the U.S. Attorney's Office. She's the person who told the U.S. Attorney's Office about our relationship. So in essence, those out there who want to hate on me, who want to say that I'm attacking Cassie, you should realize the truth, that Cassandra Ventura, your idol, did this to herself.
So it sounds like he probably wouldn't have even brought this up if it wasn't for the trial. That's what it sounds like. And I told you with this trial, it seems like the big winner here is still Cassie, because she was able to win at least, money in the civil suit. Obviously not for the other accusations, but she was able to walk away with something. But this is all very messy. And like I said, he has his own lawsuit now. And if he has like evidence to prove that what he's saying is true, this is not going to look good for Cassie. Not going to look good for her at all.
She exposed herself to liability when she got on the stand and decided to mention me as the male escort who was with her when she overdosed and Diddy made her have sex with him. That was a lie, people. Cassie had just woke up from sleeping 8 hours. Myself and Sean Combs were exhausted. We wanted to go home.
Different side of the story, different version of events. According to him, she was not forced to engage in these acts, at least with him. Different version of events. If what he is saying is true, what was this really all about? If what he's saying was true. Now, this does not excuse Diddy beating Cassie in that video that we saw. Absolutely disgusting. Obviously, what it does show you is that Diddy was a monster. Like, no, you don't do that to a female, period. Not cool. But now it makes you wonder if what Cassie said was true about that video, that was her trying to run away from one of those freak offs. Could be, we don't know. None of us were there. We don't really know. So this doesn't excuse Diddy. I want to be very clear. What Diddy did to her, like beating her like she was a dog, no, that's not cool at all. But it does, if, like I said, if he has evidence to prove like what he's saying is true, that does not look good for Cassie.
Cassie's the one who forced that sexual encounter. People, she tells you that Sean Combs made her have sex on her menstrual cycle. I can't speak for anyone else but myself. But I know the one time that did happen, that Sean Combs was not responsible for that. That Cassie, in a drunken, intoxicated, hormonally imbalanced state due to her period, manipulated and forced herself on me during her menstrual cycle. And what I mean by that is I had no knowledge she was on her menstrual cycle because the room was completely dark. She manipulated the room.
So he's saying that that also is not true. He's saying that, so this is, I don't know, guys, like now he's saying that Cassie forced herself on him. And I have a question. Why wasn't he called to testify? Since he was mentioned during the trial, why wasn't he called to testify at that trial? Doesn't that seem a little weird to you guys? That was something I wondered, even during the trial, I was like, okay, they're bringing up this male escort. Like maybe he just can't be found, right? Or maybe he's not even alive anymore. I don't know. Or maybe he's left maybe he just can't be found, but it looks like he can be found. So my question is, why wasn't he called to testify during that trial? And we know that he wasn't because he says that he wasn't. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
Manipulated the environment to get what she wanted, and then she totally got up like I was the one who should have been grateful. You're on your period. That's disgusting, and I deserved more respect than that. As a man, if I had laid down with a woman and forced myself on her and orgasmed in her and she got up and it was leaking out of her, guess what? I would have raped her. So by statute, by case law definition, Cassandra Ventura sexually assaulted me.
This is not good. This is not good at all. This is not good for Cassie if this is true. I still struggle with the fact that he was not called to testify. That is very strange to me.
I'm not looking to destroy Cassie. I've given Cassie more than a year to settle this before things got out of control. The problem is she's being supported by women like you who choose to attack male victims instead of accept the truth, which is that a woman could have lied to get revenge on the ex-boyfriend who broke her heart and hurt her. It happens, people. They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and that's true.
So according to him, he's basically saying that Diddy, I guess, broke Cassie's heart, and that's what oh my God, oh my God. And here's what I've been thinking the whole time. The whole time I've been thinking, I think there's truths here and there's truths there. I don't think either side is telling the full truth about everything. I think there are things that Cassie omitted. I think there are things that, the defense omitted. I don't think we're getting the full story, but the fact that this guy was not on the stand, it sounds alarm bells to me, knowing what he knows.
Which is that a woman could have lied to get revenge on the ex-boyfriend who broke her heart and hurt her. It happens, people. They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and that's true. If you hurt some women, they will do everything in their power. If you hurt some men, they'll do everything in their power to hurt you. But I want to end this by saying this. Cassie did this to herself. They say he who sets out on the course of revenge should dig 2 graves. People, Cassie dug the grave that is Clayton Howard herself. Cassie got on the stand trying to destroy Diddy. She should have took her $20-30 million and walked into the sunset, people.
So it sounds like to me that if Cassie would have just handled the civil suit and just took the money and walked away, you would not hear from this guy. But because everything went to trial, I guess now he's like, well, wait a minute. Like some of the things that are said during this trial are not cool, like, or untrue, according to him. So it almost seems like Cassie choosing to take it to trial could make things worse for her.
She should have never gotten on the stand and created further liability for herself by telling more of the lie that she created to get this man sent to prison for his life. She made a mistake when she got on the stand, people. She made a mistake when she got on the stand and lied about the events with Clayton Howard. Clayton Howard is a victim of Cassandra Ventura. Clayton Howard didn't ask to be in a relationship with Cassandra Ventura while she was sleeping with numerous men per week. I get it. You all think I was a nasty male prostitute sleeping with women, all different women all the time. It actually didn't work like that. To have certain types of people that can pay you that well, what you really have to do is you have to focus on people who are affluent. And affluent people don't engage in activities like that. So I might have had a client once a month. The truth is I was only a male escort for 2 years. I continued in the profession because Cassie and Diddy continued to pay me very well. And I was an ex-con. I needed.
So he says it right there. He lets you know why he decided to continue, doing business with Cassie and Diddy. And that's because like they were paying him very well. So this is the thing and I've said before is that, again, like if the situation was so bad as he says that it wasn't bad enough for him to walk away from it. But he said also that he was an ex-con and he needed money at the time. So it almost kind of seems as though, as we've talked about before, how people will prey on those that they know are in desperate situations. That's what it kind of seems like. But this is very damning, very damning. Not good, not good.
In the profession because Cassie and Diddy continued to pay me very well, and I was an ex-con. I needed money. I was trapped in a situation. I'll admit that. I didn't know what to do. But does that mean I should be victim shamed because the same thing that happened to women all the time happened to me as a man? No. And for those women out there, for you black women who choose to shame me as a black man for telling my truth, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's probably pretty much all I have to say. You will not see me too much in the media. I don't need the public to believe me. I just need a jury of my peers and 12 people to believe me in the court. And thanks to the testimony of Cassie during the trial of Sean Combs, I have that. Thank you for watching. Stop victim shaming. Thank you.
Ooh. So it almost sounds like he wants this to go to trial because he said, I only need 12 peers to hear my truth. I'm just going to tell you guys this. If it comes out that what he's saying is 100% true, this is not just going to be bad for Cassie, but for women who come forward as victims. This is going to be really, really bad. Crazy times. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.